On a single stretch of coastline, forged by sand and sea, two worlds exist. Here, centuries-old walls stand defiant against time, their cannons aimed at a forgotten horizon. And just miles away, titans of titanium and fire stand poised, their sights set on the stars. This is Florida's first coast, and its Space Coast, a place where the story of America's oldest past and its most ambitious future are written into the same landscape. How is this possible? To find out, we have to see it from above. From the edge of space, Florida reveals itself, a peninsula of green and gold, separating the Atlantic from the Gulf. Our journey will take us down its eastern spine, a shoreline that holds the very story of America's beginning and its leap into the future. We descend upon St. Augustine, but our first landmark is not a fortress, but a palace. This is the former Ponce de Leon Hotel, now the heart of Flagler College. Built in the late 1800s by industrialist Henry Flagler, this was a masterpiece of the Gilded Age. It was one of the most exclusive winter resorts in the world, lit by electricity installed by Thomas Edison himself. Flagler's vision was to transform Florida from a remote swampland into the American Riviera. This building, with its Spanish Revival architecture and opulent courtyards, was the crown jewel of that dream. A declaration that Florida was open for the world's elite. But long before Flagler's golden age, St. Augustine was a city built for survival. At its heart, the Castillo de San Marcos. We orbit this incredible monument. Notice its unique star shape, a design that left no blind spots for attackers. Its walls are made of a remarkable local shellstone called coquina. This stone didn't shatter from cannonballs. It absorbed them, making the fort nearly indestructible. From the fortress, we cross the iconic Bridge of Lions, its marble statues guarding the city's waterfront, and fly towards the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Its distinctive black and white spiral has been a beacon for sailors since 1874, a silent sentinel watching over the oldest port in the nation. Following the lighthouse's gaze, we drift out to the coastline it protects. This is St. Augustine Beach and Crescent Beach. The ancient city we just left gives way to the modern rhythm of coastal life. Here, history is written not in stone, but in sand. The coquina that built the fortress is the very same shell that makes up these beaches. This is the modern legacy of Flagler's dream, a destination where visitors from around the world come to stand on the edge of the continent. The high-rise hotels and luxury homes that line this shore are a world away from the colonial city, a testament to how this small, strategic outpost has evolved into a paradise of leisure. We now leap south down the coast, and the timeline accelerates dramatically. From high above, it looks like a modern amphitheater. This is the Daytona International Speedway. As we descend, its scale becomes clear. This is the world center of racing. The banking in its turns is immense, an incredible 31 degrees. They are so steep, a normal car couldn't even drive on them, but they allow race cars to maintain breathtaking speeds. Opened in 1959, this track took the spirit of racing off the nearby sands and forged it into a temple of speed. To orbit this place is to circle a monument to human and mechanical ambition, where history is measured in thousandths of a second. But why here? Why did Daytona become the capital of speed? To understand, we must descend onto the beach itself. For the next 2 minutes, we will fly along this iconic shoreline. Look at this sand. It's wide, flat, and uniquely hard-packed. In the early 1900s, this made it one of the only places on Earth where daredevils in primitive automobiles could safely push their machines to the absolute limit. It wasn't just American hot rodders. This beach became an international stage for the fastest men on Earth. Legends like Sir Malcolm Campbell brought his famous Bluebird racers from Britain, setting a world record here in 1935 by screaming across this sand at over 276 miles per hour. The race course itself was a brutal, ingenious loop. Competitors would race 2 miles south on the hard-packed sand, then navigate a treacherous banked sand turn at the southern end. They would then return north on the narrow paved Atlantic Avenue, the A1A, before facing another difficult sand turn to complete the lap. It was a grueling test of man and machine against both the road and the tide. And it was here, after the races, that a local promoter and mechanic named Bill France Sr. began to formalize the rules. In 1947, he gathered drivers and owners and laid out a vision for a unified stock car racing league. That meeting was the birthplace of NASCAR. This wasn't just a racetrack. It was the cradle of America's greatest motorsport. For decades, this beach was the site of over a dozen land speed records. This was the original racetrack, a natural marvel of sand and surf where the legends of motorsport were born. The roar of engines on the speedway is merely an echo of the sounds that once thundered across this very beach. Our final leap takes us to a place where speed is measured not in miles per hour, but in miles per second. This is the Kennedy Space Center, hallowed ground for the dreamers and the explorers. From here, humanity took its first steps into the cosmos. The monumental launch pads, the colossal vehicle assembly building. They are relics from a future we once only imagined. And as we begin our flight south along the Cape Canaveral and Cocoa Beach shoreline, you see the most unique juxtaposition in America. On one side, a tranquil beach paradise. Luxury homes and hotels line the shore, a picture of relaxation. But just over their shoulder lies the frontier of human exploration. This is a place where residents can watch a rocket carry astronauts to orbit from their own backyard, where surfers paddle out, waiting for a wave, while a billion-dollar machine waits on the pad, ready to ascend to the heavens. It is the perfect symbol of this coastline story, a seamless blend of paradise and progress, a reminder written in stone, sand, and rocket fuel that the human journey is always about reaching for the next horizon.